have a lot of marquee batting stars for both of these teams. On the first weekend of Fox Saturday Baseball, it'll be the Cardinals against the Brewers. First pitch coming up. Hand for the Cardinals and the Brewers, and here is today's starting lineup for the Cardinals, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Skip Schumacher will lead off at second base. Felipe Lopez makes his first start at shortstop. Albert Pujols will be at first base. Matt Holliday in left field, the big 1-2 punch there. Colby Erasmus will be in center field. Ryan Ludwig will be the right fielder. Yadier Molina behind the plate. David Freese at third base, and Jaime Garcia on the mound. And Giovanni Gallardo, who was the most valuable pitcher for the Brewers last year, winning 13 games. But look at that .219 opponent batting average, Eric.
Well, he's not a lot of fun to hit against. As a hitter, you go up there, he's got a couple different pitches. Thing is, he can be erratic.
And right now, here is the sprint pitcher profile for Giovanni Gallardo.
Well, number one, he has to be the number one guy on this staff and pitch like a number one guy in the National League. The curveball is his out pitch, but he gets into trouble trying to throw it early. The contract says he's a number one. Let's pitch like a number one.
All right, so we're set to go, and this game is brought to you by Budweiser, official beer of the thirst inning. The beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, clean finish. Budweiser, it's what we do. Skip Schumacher will lead off for the Cardinals. Back-to-back 300 seasons for Schumacher, who made a great transformation from an outfielder to a second baseman last year. Cardinals winning dramatically last night, 5-4. Pinch hitter Nick Scavanoa with a 2-out, 2-strike home run in the ninth against Trevor Hoffman. And we're underway. The first pitch in there for a strike. Schumacher will be followed by Lopez and then Ground ball up the middle, and Alcides Escobar makes the play, and a good play by Prince Fielder, digging it out for out number 1. And here is today's defensive alignment for the Brewers, brought to you by Scott's. There they are. McGee, Escobar, Weeks, and Fielder on the infield. Braun, Gomez, and Hart in the outfield. Zahn behind the plate, catching Gallardo. And that brings up Felipe Lopez, the switch hitting shortstop, making his first start of the year. Lopez played 66 games with the Brewers last year, hit well, was with the Cardinals back in 08.
Well, he really had a nice season last year, hitting over 300 with Milwaukee and Arizona. You know, and he's a guy that can spell Schumacher or Ryan, even Freese can play some outfield as well.
Hits this on the ground to Ricky Weeks, the second baseman. 2 ground balls, 2 outs here in the first inning. Taking a look at the umpires today. Larry Vanover will be behind the plate. Mark Carlson is at first. Jeff Nelson at second, and the crew chief, Jeff Kellogg, will man third base. Here's Albert Pujols. And what a start to the season for King Albert. Hit a home run in his first at-bat on opening day against the Reds. Went 4 for 5 with 2 home runs. So it didn't take Albert Pujols long to be the man for the Cardinals. Takes ball 1. Pujols had surgery to remove bone spurs in his right elbow last October. 2-0.
Well, that's what's scary is what he's done over the past few years. He hasn't been 100%. Now he is 100%. You saw what he did on opening day. 2 home runs.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. And it nicks the outside corner. 2-1. Pujols with a quick look at Vanover. Wasn't sure of that call. Interesting that the visiting team has dominated both last year and the first game so far this season, as Pujols takes low 3-1. The road team has won the last 8 games between these teams. And last year the Cardinals won 7 out of 9 here in Milwaukee, and the Brewers turned the tables, winning 7 out of 9 in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. One hopper, hard hit. Escobar makes the play. 3 ground balls, 3 outs in order for Gallardo, and the Brewers come up in the first inning. Carlos Gomez in center, Ryan Braun in left, Prince Fielder at first base. There's that 1-2 punch. Casey McGee will be at third. Corey Hart in right field. Greg Zaun behind the plate. Alcides Escobar at shortstop. And Gallardo, the pitcher, facing 23-year-old Jaime Garcia. And his first start since July of 08 against San Diego. So this just his second major league start. And the first pitch. Ball one to Ricky Weeks. Ricky Weeks had his year cut short because of injury, a torn tendon last year. Slow hit grounder, charging it is Lopez, but he makes the play for out number one. And here is the sprint pitcher profile for Jaime Garcia.
Well, Garcia is not your typical lefty in that usually you see fastball changeup. His off speed is a slow curveball, about 70 miles an hour. Fastball has late movement in the zone. You don't pick it up early. And health is real important. He's coming off of Tommy John surgery, had a stint in the minor leagues at the end of the year, but endurance and health will be important.
And he had a terrific spring to win the job hands down. Carlos Gomez takes a strike. Gomez came over from the Minnesota Twins in a deal for shortstop J.J. Hardy. Line drive right at Pujols for the second out. And here is today's defensive alignment for the Cardinals, brought to you by Scott's. Holiday, Rasmus, and Ludwig in the outfield. Freese, Lopez, Schumacher, and Pujols from third to first. Molina, a Gold Glove, as is Pujols last year. And Garcia on the mound. So 2 out. And here is Ryan Braun. So Ryan Braun had career highs in hits and RBIs last year. Takes down low, ball one. Ryan Braun with 114 runs batted in. Ian Fielder presented the best 1-2 RBI punch in the majors last season. In for the strike, 1-1.
Well, the thing also that makes them dangerous, one from the right side, Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder from the left side. So when you're pitching, you can't just stack up a right-handed pitcher or bring in a reliever. There's Prince Fielder right there. It presents a lot of problems for the opposing manager.
Foul out of play, and Garcia is ahead of him, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, more than 56,000 fans have signed on to Ryan Braun's Facebook website, and he has invited all 56,000 to stop by. He's just opened up a new restaurant that opened the past week. We were there last night and enjoyed our time. Ryan Braun's Waterfront Grill right here in Milwaukee. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the first. And a shot hit to short, backhanded by Lopez, and a 1-2-3 inning for Jaime Garcia. We've completed 1, no score between the Cardinals and the Brewers. company of Major League Baseball and by Sprint, the Now Network. So the Cardinals come up in the top of the second inning. And we'll have Matt Holliday, Colby Rasmus, and Ryan Ludwig. An adjustment being made to one of the gloves in the Brewers dugout. And time now for today's Ford Keys to the Game.
Well, it's important for both teams to get the top of the lineup on base so that potent middle of the order has an opportunity to hit with runners on base. Again, both pitching staffs are going to have to attack that middle of the lineup, but they have to be careful. One mistake, that ball's out of the ballpark. And you want to make each offensive team earn it. Get a base hit. Do not issue walks.
So Ken Maka in his second year with the Brewers, and Tony La Russa now in his 32nd season overall as a manager. Here is Matt Holliday, who is a huge boost to the Cardinals as he takes ball one last year. Came over from the A's and hit .353 with 13 homers, 55 RBIs in 63 games, and they gave him the largest player contract in Cardinal history, and he has so far in this brief year lived up to it.
Yeah, nice start these first couple of games, couple of home runs. But he will be asked to protect Albert Pujols.
2-0 pitch from Gallardo and falls behind 3-0. Matt Holliday leading the Cardinals with 8 hits. You mentioned the 2 homers. He and Pujols each have 2 and 5 runs batted in. Colby Rasmus, and he's going to be one to watch in his second year. And the pitch in there for a strike, the breaking pitch. And it's now 3-1. 3 balls and a strike to the leadoff hitter, Matt Holliday, here in the second inning. And a shot up the middle past Gallardo into center field for a base hit. So Matt Holliday continues it. The hot hitting with his 9th hit. 9 for 18 on the year. Batting .500. And here is Colby Rasmus, who has put on some weight and has a chance to be a good one. 4 for 10 so far on the year. So here is Rasmus, who will be the everyday center fielder facing Gallardo. Holliday with the short lead at first. Fastball misses ball 1. On deck is Ryan Ludwig. And the breaking pitch in for the strike, 1-1. Rasmus was bothered by hiatal hernia last year and lost 25 pounds during the season. He admitted that he was beaten down and he was tired. And of course, he had some problems as well with his father, who had been a demanding guy, was his Little League World Series coach. He has worked that out always, and this is a common story, wanting to please your father. And that affected Rasmus and his relationship with his dad. They've worked that out. So Colby has a good state of mind coming into this year.
Yeah, I think if there's been any difference, at least in his approaches, he's a lot more patient. You know, already 7 walks in this early part of the season.
2-1 pitch, missing 3-1 to Rasmus, and Gallardo with Ludwig on deck. And there is Rick Peterson, the pitching coach, who has rejoined Ken Maka. They worked together with the Oakland A's. The lead at first by Holliday. Here's the 3-1 pitch, ball 4. So a single and a walk starts it off for the Cardinals here in the second inning. And coming up after our game at 7 p.m. Eastern, NASCAR on Fox is in Phoenix, where Mark Martin will try to defend his title and take home the checkered flag for the 2nd straight year. Coverage of the Subway Fresh Fit 600 from Phoenix International Raceway coming up next in high definition here on Fox. Well, here's Ryan Ludwig, and the Cardinals are hoping that Ryan Ludwig simply will stay healthy this year, because when he does, He's a very tough out. Ludwig has averaged 105 runs batted in the last 2 years. Swings and misses well ahead of that pitch. And the count 0-1.
Well, he's a real compliment to this offense. See, he's pulling his head out right there. He doesn't have to be the central guy. He can be a support guy to Pujols, Holiday, Rasmussen. A couple of years ago, had over 100 RBIs. A great season in 08.
Breaking ball, low and inside. Handled by Greg Zahn, and the count is 1-1. So Giovanni Gallardo getting himself in trouble here, and he was second in the National League in walks. As you see the runners, Holiday at second and Rasmus at first, fifth in strikeouts. So it was a kind of a bittersweet situation for Gallardo in that department. And the breaking ball missing outside, and the count 2-1 to Ludwig.
Well, Gallardo has such great stuff. He doesn't have to be so fine. He's got to trust his ability. He's got a live fastball, good curveball, slider, changeup. But sometimes he tries to nitpick, and then he gets behind in the count.
And a ground ball through the hole into left field for a base hit. Rounding third is Holiday. Here's Braun's throw to the plate. It's not cut off. The run scores. And Rasmus will go to third base. Sliding in. So an RBI single for Ryan Ludwig. Holiday scoring, and the Cardinals take a 1-0 lead.
Again, Gallardo behind in the count, misses his spot. Ludwig, the RBI guy of 08, had almost 100 last year, drives the ball. And now you see where Gallardo is backing up. He's over on Greg Zahn's left side. You see Holiday running hard the entire way. See Gallardo, you don't even see him. He should be back behind Zahn, more in a direct line with Ryan Braun, Greg Zahn. Not that he would have been able to retrieve that ball, but maybe he's closer. Rasmus doesn't decide to go to third, but now first and third, nobody out.
And an error charge to Ryan Braun on the throw to allow Rasmus to go to third. Runners at the corner, still nobody out. Yadier Molina hitting seventh. And he takes a breaking ball down low. Yadier Molina hit the first grand slam of his career in the opening game. And the only Cardinals who have managed that, Scott Rowland and Mark McGwire, besides Yadier Molina. So Rasmus is at third, Ludwig at first, nobody out. Cardinals looking for the big inning here in the second. And a fly ball hit to left field. See if it stays fair, and it does. It's a home run, 3-run homer by Yadier Molina, and the Cardinals lead it 4-0. Second home run of the year by Molina, who has now driven in 7 runs, and it has turned out to be a big inning for St. Louis.
There's so many players in this lineup that can hurt you. And when you get behind in the count, they become that much more dangerous. Molina gets a fastball up in the zone, a 1-0 count. You see Gallardo misses his location.
David Freese grounds it on the first pitch to Escobar, and that'll be the first out here in the second inning.
You see, you look at this inning as you see Yadier Molina. You know, every hitter up until David Freese right there was ahead in the count. They went up, they saw some pitches. Gallardo fell behind, and then he was forced to throw the ball over the plate. The Cardinals do some damage. David Freese, a young hitter, gets right up there, and what does he do? Swings at the first pitch. That's a young hitter, inexperienced.
And the pitcher, Jaime Garcia, taking ball one. So a rough second inning for Giovanni Gallardo, fresh off of his contract extension. And he is the key to what has been a shaky starting staff for the Brewers. There's a called strike, 1-1. That was problem number one that the Brewers looked to correct during the offseason. Peterson coming in as pitching coach, and Randy Wolf and Doug Davis aboard as starters. 2-1 now to Garcia.
You see Ken Maka, Rick Peterson. You know, what'll be interesting is how Gallardo reacts to this contract. There's two ways to look at it. The security And okay, he doesn't have to worry about things, but then there's also the I have to live up to the contract, and what kind of pressures do I put on myself, and now I'm the number one guy, and all those things factor in. It'll be interesting to see how that develops.
And a swinging bunt out to the mound. Gallardo handles it, and that'll be the second out. 2 down to the leadoff hitter, Skip Schumacher. So Yadier Molina. And Molina was sidelined the last week of spring training with a strained right oblique. And also injured was the backup catcher, Jason LaRue. And there was some questionable moments for the Cardinals as they began the year. So here's Schumacher, who bounced to short last inning. One and 0. Pitch again is outside, and the count 2 balls and no strikes to Skip Schumacher as the Cardinals scoring 4 runs here in the second before a batter was retired. And that's a strike. 33 pitches thrown so far by Gallardo. And the count 2-1 to the Cardinal second baseman. And now it's 3-1. Gallardo, 24 years old, native of Mexico, and went to high school in Fort Worth. Felipe Lopez, if Schumacher can keep it going for the Cardinals. Back to the mound. And Schumacher is retired, but the damage was done by the Cardinals. And the big blow was Yadier Molina's 3-run homer into the upper deck in left field to give the Cardinals a 4-0 lead in the middle of the second. Finish, it's what would we do. Well, this solid crowd quiet here after the Cardinals' 4-run explosion in the second. Prince Fielder leading off, taking a called strike from Jaime Garcia here in the second inning. So Fielder, who hit 46 home runs, 1 fewer than Albert Pujols, but had a career high of 141 runs batted in to tie Ryan Howard. And as you pointed out at the top, Eric, the left-handed hitting version of this potent 1-2 punch.
Well, Prince Fielder, just an excellent hitter. Goes up there, doesn't get cheated at all. Going to take his swings. We saw him make a nice play at first base in the first inning, digging the throw out from the shortstop. He doesn't get a lot of credit for his defense. And he's durable. Played every game last year.
And a check swing, and he went around, according to Jeff Kellogg, the third base umpire. So Fielder with a strikeout, and there's one going in the second.
Well, that's a slider right there that Garcia loves to throw down and into right-handed hitters. Also uses it effectively right there to neutralize Prince Fielder.
Here's Casey McGee, the third baseman who got his opportunity last year when Ricky Weeks was out with the torn tendon in his wrist, and he made the most of it. Ball one outside. McGee hit .301 with 16 homers and 66 runs batted in. Pretty good for a rookie in 116 games, and now he's a fixture in the Milwaukee lineup. Takes ball two.
Well, much like Ryan Ludwig is a compliment to Pujols and Holiday, McGee is a compliment to Braun and Fielder. He didn't have a very good spring training, but what he did last year has allowed him to win the job.
Back to the mound. Good move by Garcia, and he makes the play for the second out. Well, Fox Sports is proud to team with the Breast Cancer Research Foundation during our 2010 MLB on Fox season. The Breast Cancer Research Foundation helps fund the most advanced and promising breast cancer research. Join the fight by texting CURE to 27722 to donate $10 or visit bcrfcure.org. Messaging and data rates may apply. Two down and a call strike to Corey Hart. Corey Hart, who was the starter most of the year at right field for the Brewers last year, coming off a horrendous Cactus League. And he hit 172 and had really no swing at all. And Jim Edmonds, who was picked up, former Cardinal, and not in the lineup today against the left-hander, has been the starter primarily in right for Milwaukee.
Well, Ken Mockus said he was going to play the best player in right field. It's not a platoon situation right now. Jim Edmonds is the starter.
So Hart in there today, making his second appearance of the season. Two down, nobody on. The count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cardinals leading 4-0, getting 4 in their half of this second inning. Breaking ball in tight, and it's 2-2. Brewers go solid hitting team. They scored the third most runs last year in the league, and against the left-hander, good right-handed power. Figure they might be ready to tee off today to get back in the series and still have time to do it.
Well, the thing is, though, you're playing against a team that is ahead 4-0, and that allows the pitcher Garcia to be more relaxed. He's not stressing. He can expand the zone. Milwaukee, they've got to be patient, not try to get all the runs back in one at-bat. It works to Garcia's favor, especially the type of pitcher he is.
And, of course, you're always concerned about the confidence. I mean, Garcia could have pitched tomorrow night in this series finale. Tony La Russa decided to go with Chris Carpenter, his ace, tomorrow, and get Garcia into the rotation in this game today. 3-2 pitch, and it's fouled at the plate, so Hart stays alive. Tony La Russa, 32 years. The only manager who's skippered more games was Connie Mack. But then again, he owned the Philadelphia Athletics. No wonder. Another foul, and it remains 3-2. Garcia, 23 years old, also a native of Reynosa, Mexico. And he spent yesterday making travel arrangements to get his family from San Antonio here to Milwaukee for the long-awaited start. Last time he started a game was against the Padres, and that was an emergency role in July of 08. Bases cleared. 2 down and 3-2 to Hart. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Second strikeout this inning in a 1-2-3 inning for Garcia. So we have Pujols and Holiday coming up, and we'll return to Milwaukee after a word from your local Fox station. Cardinals batting in the third against Giovanni Gallardo. Felipe Lopez, the switch hitter, taking a call strike. Lopez bounced out his first time up. Hails from Orlando, Florida. Last year was with the Brewers, as we mentioned, and also with the Diamondbacks. Lifts this in the air to center field, where Carlos Gomez makes the play, 1 out. Well, Albert Pujols coming up for the second time. Rounded sharply to shortstop in his first at-bat. Of course, the big question in St. Louis now that Matt Holliday has his big contract is what will it take to sign Pujols? As they say, you can't have one without the other. Strike 1 from Gallardo. On deck will be Matt Holliday here in the third inning. Cardinals in front 4-0. That's a breaking pitch. 1-1 to Albert Pujols, who won the MVP award last year, his third, facing Giovanni Gallardo, who career-wise 0-2 against the Cardinals, making his fifth start against St. Louis. Good pitch in on the fist, but lifted out to center field, where Gomez makes the play. 2 fly balls to center field, 2 outs here in the third to Matt Holliday.
Well, it doesn't happen often, but got in a bit. And Albert Pujols, Greg Zahn calling for the fastball inside. When you go in, you've got to get inside. You see Greg Zahn setting up inside. Looked like Albert was just a little bit quick, hit it near the end of the bat. It doesn't happen very often.
So here's Matt Holliday, and one thing Tony La Russa always looks for is toughness. Of course, He was recruited by Oklahoma State, Holiday, to play quarterback. He's got toughness in him, as did Nick Stavanoa, who hit the pinch home run to win last night's game. Was a linebacker at college at the University of Houston. And Tony talks about the mental toughness. Well, Matt Holiday also went deep last night. It was in the 6th inning off of Dave Bush. The Cardinals were trailing at the time 4-1, cut the deficit to 4-3. And eventually the Cardinals won the opener of the series. Curveball fouled it back. And the count remains no balls, 2 strikes. There is the new hitting coach for the St. Louis Cardinals, Mark McGwire, who was anxious to get back and help a lot of the Cardinals. He has done that from his home in Southern California for years. They've gone out there. But now he decided to come to them.
I thought you were going to say he was anxious to talk to us later in the game.
Yes.
Going to get a word or two in with him. Had an opportunity to watch him work with the Cardinal hitters yesterday before the game. Tireless. And it's not just 1 or 2 hitters for the Cardinals. It's the whole group.
And Holiday strikes out, so Gallardo comes back, settles down, and retires. The Cardinals in order in the 3rd. Facing Greg Zaun, the bottom 3rd of the Brewers order here in the last of the 3rd inning. And the first pitch missing, ball 1. Greg Zaun, who will turn 39 this Wednesday. And the Brewers are his 9th big league club. Interesting that Greg Zaun and George Kataris, the backup, never really gone through the season as the regular catcher for a club. But Zaun's certainly capable. And that's in for the strike on the breaking pitch, 2-1.
Well, Greg Zaun throughout his career has always been a very serviceable guy to come in and spell a starter. He puts up pretty decent offensive numbers.
Goes after the low pitch and gets a piece of it, 2-2.
You know what Ken Mocker was telling me yesterday, you've got to be careful running Greg Zaun out there too often, because as you mentioned, 38 years old. You don't see many guys catching every day at that age.
Alcides Escobar waiting on deck. Chopper foul. Count holds 2 balls and 2 strikes. Zaun who's a member of the Florida Marlins World Championship team back in '97. And he hails from La Cañada, California. 3-2 now to the Brewers catcher. Garcia has retired the first 6 hitters for Milwaukee, and last inning struck out 2 of the 3 batters he faced. 3-2 pitch, and he walks him. And Zahn draws a walk. Well, we had an opportunity to chat with Rick Peterson, the new pitching coach of the Brewers, and relate to him Ken Maka, who said that he's one of the pitching coaches who can deal with both veterans and the youngsters alike. Rick, first year as pitching coach of a team that really needs to boost their pitching, and one thing Ken Maka said, you have the ability to work with veterans and the kids, and not every pitching coach can do it.
Well, I appreciate that. It's a nice compliment from Kenny. I mean, it's my 16th year doing this, so hopefully you get good at something after 16 years.
Rick, what excites you about this staff and what you can do with these group of guys?
I think as much as anything, it's a very balanced staff. We got some youth at the top of the rotation being Giovanni. Then, of course, Wolfie, who's been around a long time, he's a crafty veteran. Doug Davis, obviously, has had a lot of success. And then you have Bushy, right now a 4-starter who had a nice start yesterday. And our bullpen is very balanced. I mean, look at Trevor Hoffman closing in on 600 saves. I don't even know what that means. That's absolutely incredible. And Hawkins and Coffey down there and Stetter in the bullpen. So it's a very balanced staff. And I think with the offense that we have, we're going to make some noise in this division.
Great. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, guys.
1-1 pitch into the air to short right field. Ludwig charging and making the catch. Looked like he bobbled it a bit after he made the play. Going back to first is Zahn, and that'll be the first out of this 3rd inning.
Well, you see, he's coming in, and I think what happened is he lost it in the shadows. Now, this domed stadium, retractable roof, what happens, there's a lot of windows here, and shadows in the sun creep through onto the field. So while there doesn't appear to be any sunshine on the field, when you look up into the air, you can see a glare, and that may affect your ability to catch a ball.
Squaring around a bunt is Gallardo, and he offered at it and then takes a strike. And you saw a lot of white in the webbing of his glove after he made that catch. So Gallardo checking with third base coach Brad Fisher. Brewers trying to get back into this game, and it's still early, so a run would be huge. 1 out. Zahn is at first, squaring around the bunt, but takes the strike this time, and it's 0-2 to Gallardo.
Getting back to that play, Ludwig, I mean, when you don't see the ball as a fielder, as you see Ricky Weeks on deck, it becomes very scary because you're continuing to pursue the ball and you're just hoping that that thing just lands in your glove instead of right on the bill of your cap.
And Gallardo strikes out for out number 2. And that's the 3rd strikeout for Garcia. Well, on April 21st, Idol Gives Back returns with scheduled appearances by Alicia Keys, Carrie Underwood, the Black Eyed Peas, and many more. Be part of an Idol Gives Back team in your hometown. Log on to idolgivesback.com and join or start a team today. Idol Gives Back, April 21st, only on Fox. Ricky Weeks with 2 out. And Zahn, who led off with a walk, on at first base. Oh! Ball 1. When Weeks went out with that wrist injury, he was having a terrific year with 9 homers and 24 runs batted in, hitting .272 in 37 games. 2-0.
Well, he provides power, he provides speed. And this is a ball club that does not want to rely on the home run. They want to be able to manufacture runs. That's why, that at bat by Gallardo, you've got to be just shaking your head if you're Ken Maka. You've got a runner on first. Just get the bunt down. At least give your team an opportunity to score a run from second base. And if they are not able to execute those types of situations, they're not going to be competing for the division in October.
Garcia's making good pitches, keeping the ball away from the right-hander. And as I say it, He gets a pitch out over the plate to Ricky Weeks, who lines to left, and that's the first base hit of the game for the Brewers. Zahn will stop at second. Runners at first and second with 2 out.
Again, this is a hitter in a count that favors him. A 2-1 count. You see Molina, his glove going to the inner part of the plate. Garcia doesn't hit the location. But that base hit should have meant a run. And that's why that at-bat by Gallardo. Again, Ken Maka just saying, man, oh man, if you're not going to do it on the mound, at least help yourself at the plate.
And for that matter, Escobar, who was up with a runner at first and nobody out to try to move the runner over, hit the ball in the air. So here is Carlos Gomez, who lined to Pujols' first time up. Breaks high and inside, ball 1, and Molina will go out the mound to talk to Garcia.
Well, this is a good spot to go to the mound because Garcia hasn't faced any kind of pressure yet this ball game, and he has to remember he's ahead 4-0. He cannot be in a position of panic. The Brewers are the ones that are behind. All he has to do is go out, just execute the pitches. Don't be so fine. Don't try to make the perfect pitch. Let your defense help you.
Count is 1-0 to Gomez, who had 4 hits in the opening game of the season, only been 1 for 13 since, and he fouls this out of play. And for Gomez, it was his 5th career 4-hit game. Bernie Brewer waiting for a little noise from the Milwaukee bats to get back into this game if they can. Brewers have runners at first and second, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd. 1-1 to Gomez. Goes after the low pitch. Fouls it out of play. 1-2.
Well, see, and that was a good pitch by Garcia. You've got a swinger or a hitter up at the plate that will go after anything. This ball's out of the zone. And again, you talk about what Ken Maka and the Brewers want to see. They've got to see patience. The core of this lineup is Braun and Garcia.
And the snap throw to first base, just getting back, is Ricky Weeks.
Braun and fielder, not Garcia is out on the mound. But this is a guy, Gomez, you go right after him. You see Molina trying to catch Ricky Weeks, getting a bit aggressive, makes a good throw. Now that's a play that Pujols and Molina will put on before the pitch.
There's the 2-2. And fouling it off his foot, and that really will sting Carlos Gomez on the breaking ball. Wow.
Now, as a hitter right now, you're trying to take as much time just to get that feeling out of your foot, but you're going to be sore. I can tell you, you don't want to get right back into the box, and even when you get back in the box, you're thinking, man, your foot's going thump, thump, like a heartbeat. And the pitcher, I'll tell you, if I'm pitching right now, I go right back in with a hard slider low and in. Because that's the last thing that Carlos Gomez wants to see is another ball that he can potentially foul off of his foot.
Ken Maka out to check on Weeks. Want to remind you, next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, David Wright and the Mets take on the St. Louis Cardinals, led by Albert Pujols. Or the White Sox and the Indians square off in a meeting between AL Central rivals. There's the Met-Cardinal matchup and the Sox and the Indians. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Lowe's returns next week at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox. Check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. Well, Gomez set to get back in there. One of the reasons why the Twins thought he was expendable, he hit only .229 last year. Here's that last pitch. Wow, off the left toe.
I got to come right back in there if I'm out there pitching. Another slider. Right off the foot. Take that. That just does not. I mean, he's talking to himself right now. Right off the foot again, the front foot.
The first one was off the left toe, and this one was off almost the underneath
instep.
Yeah. Instep. After last night's heartbreaking loss.
Take this slider again, boys. 2
balls, 2 strikes, 2 on. That's what he got, and The count goes full 3-2, so the runners will be off on the pitch. Greg Zaun on at second base, Ricky Weeks at first, and Jaime Garcia. And if Gomez can keep it going, Ryan Braun would be next and strikes out on a pitch way outside. That will be the fourth strikeout of the game as the Brewers lead 2 after 3, 4-0 Cards. Baseball presented by Lowe's is sponsored by the 2010 Taurus from Ford. Drive one. By Loveza and by Valvoline. Guarantee your engine up to 300,000 miles. Colby Rasmus in the fourth inning against Giovanni Gallardo. Strike one to Rasmus, who walked and eventually came around and scored on Molina's 3-run homer in the second inning. That pitch is inside. Rasmus now has walked 8 times on the season, and right atop the league in that department as Ryan Ludwig gets set to come up and Molina to follow. 1-1 from Gallardo. Breaking pitch fouled off. And the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Cardinals, of course, won the National League Central last year with a 91-71 record, and they coasted in, and they did not do well once they had wrapped things up down the stretch, and then they were swept by the Dodgers in the National League Division Series in 3 games. So kind of a sour ending for the Cardinals. And strike 3, foul tipped into the glove of Greg Zaun. And that'll be the first out in the 4th inning.
It's a fastball down and in, just ties up the left-handed hitter Colby Rasmus. I mean, so far, if you look at what's happened today with Gallardo, in that second inning, he fell behind every hitter. Everybody was hitting in the hitter's count. In that 3rd inning, 3 up, 3 down, he was ahead of every hitter. So key to get that first strike.
And he does it here. Ryan Ludwig taking a strike. Ludwig with a single and an RBI, single, and he came around and scored, drove in a run in the second inning, knocking in Matt Holliday for his second RBI of the season. That pitch is down low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gallardo facing Ludwig here with 1 out in the 4th inning. Breaking pitch, strike 2, 1-2. Gallardo has thrown 52 pitches. Rough outing in the second retired the Cardinals with just 9 pitches in the first and 9 in the third. But that 26 pitch second inning when the Cardinals scored 4 runs has put him behind. Breaking pitch lifted in the air, left center field, and Gomez makes the catch for out number 2. Well, Major League Baseball and People magazine are looking for individuals who make a difference in their community. 30 everyday All-Stars will be honored at the 2010 All-Star Game in Anaheim. And to nominate, go to peopleallstars.com. And if you saw those folks who were selected at the All-Star Game in St. Louis, it was a special moment for them indeed. Here's Yadier Molina with 2 out. And strike 1 to him. Molina with a 3-run homer in the second inning. Second homer of the year, so he has 2 homers. One was the Grand Slam opening day and the 3-run drive today. That misses, and it's 1-1.
Well, this Molina gets a fastball here in a 1-0 count. He's sitting on it, drives it out of the ballpark. But I go back to that second inning. Gallardo was not ahead of any hitter. Fell behind. David Freese, the only Cardinal hitter to swing at the first pitch. But since that second inning, he's been ahead of every hitter, and it makes a world of difference. Doesn't matter what kind of stuff you have. Sure, it helps. But if you're facing big league hitters in 2-0, 3-1, 3-0 counts, I don't care what you have, you're going to get hit.
Gallardo, who was on the disabled list most of the 08 season after right knee surgery. So both pitchers coming back from ailments. Breaking pitch, Molina stays alive, and the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gallardo last year was 13-12 in the 30 starts. Ranked 5th in strikeouts with 204. He has struck out 2 thus far today. And he was 2nd in walks. And he has walked 1 hitter to this point. Here's the 1-2. And Molina strikes out. 2 strikeouts here in the 4th. 1-2-3 inning for Gallardo. 4-0 St. Louis. Lows. Let's build something together. Jaime Garcia has allowed 1 hit, has walked 1, struck out 4. Pretty good start to his season. His role as the 5th starter in the Cardinal rotation. A very strong rotation indeed. And Ryan Braun takes a breaking ball down low, 1-0. Braun bounced to shortstop his first time up. Brewers trail 4-0. They've been out hit 3-1. And looking to get back into this game. 2-0 now to Braun. We followed by Prince Fielder and Casey McGee.
So he's setting up for the fastball.
Gets the fastball right where he set it up on the outside part of the plate, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Again, with a 4-run lead, Garcia can be aggressive. He doesn't have to worry about trying to throw the slider or the curveball.
Fly ball deep to right field. Ludwig is back and makes the catch right at the base of the wall for out number 1. Ryan Braun flies out to the opposite field. 1 out here in the 4th inning, and we had a chance to talk to the new hitting coach, Mark McGuire. We saw him with the glasses before and doesn't have them on right now. I said, well, as long as the hitters don't wear the glasses, he'll be doing okay. How does he like it so far as the hitting coach?
I love it. You know what? This is 9 years since I've been out of the game, and I truly didn't know I missed it so much. And I'm so happy that Tony and the Cardinals gave me an opportunity to come back to the game, and just absolutely love it.
Mark, has there been anything that surprised you or that you weren't aware of, that you've experienced in your brief tenure?
Well, it's funny. How many guys forget to see the baseball when you get in the ball into the batter's box? It's got to be your last thought when you get in that box. The first thought is have that good strong base below you, and then looking for the baseball. And it's amazing talking to a lot of hitters. They always forget that. They think about other things, and I try to simplify it. It's just like when a little kid when you're playing Little League baseball. What'd you do out there? You just start playing, you see the ball and hit it.
Cardinals are lucky to have you, Mark. Thanks for being with us.
Well, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Fielder strikes out for out number 2. Prince Fielder becomes the 5th strikeout victim for Jaime Garcia.
Well, this is that slider away. What he got Fielder on the first at-bat. Getting back to Mark McGuire and him being a hitting coach, I think he brings a rare combination of a resume and the ability to teach. So many guys, either they have one or the other. They have the great big league resume, but maybe aren't as effective in trying to teach hitting or break down the mechanics. Or you have the guys that are real students of hitting, but maybe didn't play in the big leagues. And I think with Mark, I've had a lot of time to spend with him as far as talking hitting. I go back to 02, 03. I spent a winter working with him. And, at that time I realized when you talk hitting, this guy knows it in and out as well as anybody.
How about his enthusiasm? We're not talking about a superstar. And he's grateful to be here. And great play by Pujols, keeping his foot on the glove in a 1-2-3 inning, handling the throw from Freeze. We go to the 5th, 4-0. Welcome back to Milwaukee. David Freese leading off against Giovanni Gallardo.
You see Albert making a stretch right there. Not getting up real quick. Maybe a little twinge to the right groin or hamstring area, but seemed to be okay, smiling a little bit. You know, that's the thing when you're out on the field. You know, there are many times where, you know, something will happen, and you know, at the moment it happens, you're thinking, "Oh, wow, something's not right." You get back in the dugout, you move around, and it, you know, for the most part, it goes away.
Here's David Freese, who won the job at third base. And Tony La Russa was telling us last night, Eric, that he didn't want to just say you're going to be the third baseman. You're going to have to earn it, but you're definitely the leader in the clubhouse without question. 2-1 pitch in for the strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, it's interesting because Tony said he doesn't like to tell a guy or make a statement where he says it's your job to lose. Because then it's a no-win situation. Because if the guy does win the job, you know, others might say, well, it was yours to lose. I mean, you didn't really go out and earn it.
Takes a call, 3rd strike. And that's the 4th strikeout. Gallardo finding the strikeouts now. Well, did you know Valvoline will guarantee your engine up to 3,000 miles? Well, usually Trevor Hoffman is close to a guarantee. Last night, however, Nick Stavanoa got the better of him with the pinch hit 2-strike, 2-out homer to win the game.
Yeah, Trevor Hoffman made a nice pitch. It was just the location happened to run into Stavanoa's bat. You know, what an at-bat for Stavanoa. Jeez.
Valvoline, the first and only motor oil in the industry to guarantee your engine up to 300,000 miles.
That was Stavanoa's first at-bat this season. Hadn't played. You're coming in against a future Hall of Famer. Somebody as reliable as there is.
Who is 7 saves away from 600.
That's amazing.
Career. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Jaime Garcia. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Garcia bounced back to Gallardo his first time up. Cardinals are leading 4-0, and Schumacher waiting on deck. We're in the 5th inning. And Gallardo certainly has settled down. A call, strike 2, 1-2. He has retired 10 straight Cardinals after Molina's 3-run homer in the second inning when St. Louis scored their 4. Breaking pitch in the dirt, and it's 2-2.
Well, you don't get points for winning innings. You get points for winning games. Or not points, but you get credit for winning games. You know, Gallardo has been, you know, unbelievable for 3 of the 4 innings. But that second inning, you know, he just did not have any kind of command, fell behind the hitters, and there's the 4 spot. See this pitch just off the outside part of the plate.
Full count to Garcia, who takes up high, ball 4. So after retiring 10 straight hitters and striking out 4 of those 10, Gallardo walks Garcia, his second walk, and a runner at first. And here is today's Verizon game summary.
I mean, you look at a couple things right there. That 3-run shot by Molina on the 1-0 pitch. I think what has to be most pleasing right now for Tony La Russa is Jaime Garcia. The 4 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts, only given up 1 hit. Has really been in command all game long.
And that 1 inning has been the difference. 4-0 the score as Skip Schumacher checks the swing and takes ball 1. Schumacher has grounded out twice. The Brewers last year were 80-82. They were 3rd in the division, 11 games behind the Cardinals. But it was a mid to late season collapse by this club because on July the 4th, believe it or not, the Brewers were tied with the Cardinals for the division lead. 5 games over 500. So they went south the rest of the way, and pitching was the #1 culprit. 1-1 to Schumacher, with 1 out, 1 on for the Redbirds here in the 5th. Two and 1 now.
Well, this is a real important hitter for Gallardo. He retired the first batter of the inning, David Freese, and then frustrated he didn't get a call against Jaime Garcia, ends up walking him. And he's got to put Schumacher away, because if he doesn't, then he starts getting into that Pujols around the corner, Holiday around the corner. And that's where you have to have the ability to control your emotions, not let a disagreement with an umpire, or if you think you should have had a call, you can't let that get to you. He's still very much in this game. You just don't want to lose the game here in the 5th inning.
Outfield around to the left on Schumacher, and that'll run the count full, 3-2. So Gallardo, after going to 3-2, walked the pitcher Garcia. Now 3-2 to Schumacher.
Well, and that's another call right there that he thought he should have had. Schumacher stepping out of the box. Let Gallardo think about it a little bit more. But there have been 2 calls that really could have gone either way. They've gone against Gallardo. And now this pitch, pivotal to the inning. 1 out, and there goes Garcia. The line drive to left field. Coming on over is Braun, and running on the pitch and going into second base, and no throw as the ball gets away in short left field. So Garcia was running with 1 out and goes to third, and Schumacher winds up at second. Well, Schumacher in a hitter's count, 3-2, knowing the pitcher has to throw a strike. I'm not so sure Ryan Braun played this correctly. Should have got this thing in a lot quicker. You've got the pitcher at first base, probably going to be held at third. What you want to do is keep that runner from getting to second base. Now, whether that's Escobar lining up for the relay or Ryan Braun taking it upon himself to get it in quickly and prevent that runner from second base, not a good defensive play.
It'll go as a double for Skip Schumacher. So the runner's now at second and third with 1 out, and the infield is in for the Brewers for Felipe Lopez, who is 0 for 2. Fly to center his last time up after grounding out to Ricky Weeks. So a chance for Lopez to do some damage against his former club, with the Cardinals up 4-0 here in the 5th. Ahead of that pitch, off speed, and the count 0-1 to Lopez.
It's a nice curveball right here out of the zone. That is probably Gallardo's favorite pitch. Sometimes he gets in trouble throwing it too often.
Low and in the dirt, 1 ball and 1 strike. So Garcia, the pitcher, is on at third base. Skip Schumacher, the runner, at second. Sliding in and showing it with some real estate from Milwaukee here. And Albert Pujols is on deck. The number 2 hitter in Tony La Russa's book is always a key batter in his lineup. Foul ball. Brendan Ryan, the shortstop, who's not playing today, was in the second spot earlier in the year, but he knew that Ryan Ludwig, because he can do a lot more damage with the bat, better suited to the number 2 slot. Ludwig was in there last night, but today it's Lopez.
When he said when Lopez plays, he'll hit at the top of the lineup in that 1 or 2 spot. But if not, Ludwig will be in that second hole.
Even told us Lopez could lead off and would like to do that. And reaching and getting a piece of it is the Cardinals shortstop, and the count remains 1-2. Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from the Reds on the road to start this year. They won the first 2 games of the series. Brad Penny pitched well in the 3rd game. They lost a heartbreaker. The Brewers took 2 out of 3 from the Colorado Rockies to open the season, which was impressive considering what people think the Rockies might do. And the Cardinals won last night. Series opener. 1-2 pitch. Fastball in there for strike 3 on the outside corner. That may have been Gallardo's best fastball of the game.
They really let that one loose. And a great location. And as a hitter, when you see that curveball, it's a nasty curveball. You've got to protect for that. Guy's throwing a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Very difficult.
So here's Albert Pujols with runners at second and third and 2 down. Pujols 0 for 2 today. has a home run in his career and 3 hits in 10, or make it 12 trips against Gallardo. So he has gone deep against the young right-hander. And the infield moving back with 2 away, and the first pitch is ball 1.
Well, last night with first base open in the 8th inning, man on second, manager Ken Maka elected to walk Pujols intentionally. But Troy Hawkins then strikes out Matt Holliday. Today, little different dilemma. He elects to go after Pujols.
Inside, 2 balls and no strikes, and of course, you always, have to face what people will say after you make the move. Ken Maka and all managers have to make the decision first.
Right, you don't get that. You don't get a second guess.
Why
what
not?
they say.
Why don't they get a second guess?
Well, it's like they say, second guessers are guys that can't get the first one right.
2 balls and no strikes to Pujols. Swings and misses on a great pitch by Gallardo. A breaking ball in perfect throw.
Well, this is great. Great job by Greg Zahn. A curveball in the dirt. It's almost as if this approach that Gallardo has, he's been instructed, go after Pujols, but don't give him anything good to hit. And that's placing a lot of onus on the pitcher, because you're asking him to be perfect by not throwing a strike the entire at bat.
2 balls and a strike. Breaking ball grounded past Escobar into left field. 2 runs will come in for the Cardinals, who now lead it 6-0. And Albert Pujols, with his first hit of the game, has driven in his 5th and 6th runs of the season.
Well, he went back, Gallardo did, with the same pitch. For him, though, unfortunately, he didn't get it down in the dirt. The 2-0 curveball, he bounced in the dirt. Albert was aggressive, went after it. It's the same thing he tried to execute on the 2-1 pitch, although that pitch was up, wasn't going to bounce, and you're not going to get away with things twice with a hitter like Albert Pujols.
And that's what Matt Holliday means to this club as Rick Peterson goes to the mound, because in many cases Pujols might have been walked if you didn't have a Matt Holliday waiting to hit.
It's interesting because I think because of the score 4-0 and because where we are in the game, that's why Pujols was pitched to. And again, it was carefully pitched to, but I'm going to say all year long, for the most part, Pujols will be walked like he was last night with the game on the line, and Holliday is going to have to do the damage.
Peterson goes back in the dugout. Well, Chevy and Scott's are building diamonds and dreams. See how the kids could win a ballpark makeover, and you could win a new Chevy at ChevyBaseball.com. Here's Matt Holliday, and ball 1 inside to Holliday, who has singled, scored a run, and struck out 1 for 2. And bullpen activity for the Brewers. Mitch Stetter is a left-hander. Claudio Vargas, a right-hander, also was up. Breaking pitch. And the count 2-0 to Holliday.
We'll sit here and talk about the Pujols at bat. Should they pitch to him? What does Holliday mean? But really the key to this inning so far is the at bat by Jaime Garcia. The 2-2 pitch that was questionable.
And then the 3-2 pitch that wasn't even close. Fly ball to left field. Braun going back, coming in to make the catch. But the Cardinals add to their lead. They get 2 on Pujols' 2-run single, 6-0 to the bottom of the 5th. Brewers now have a deeper hole, and that's good news for Jaime Garcia and the Cardinals. It's 6-0. And Corey Hart, who struck out his first time up, will lead off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And the first pitch is ball 1. It'll be Corey Hart, Greg Zaun, and Alcides Escobar, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters. Ground ball off the glove of Freese. And on at first base is Hart, and not going to take any chances, you can be sure. Down by 6 runs as the ball gets loose.
You see David Freese just doesn't quite get there. It's a good first step, but unable to make that play.
And it's ruled a base hit. Infield hit for Hart. And it brings up Greg Zaun, who walked to lead off the 3rd inning. Throw to first base, and Hart is back. You wouldn't think he's going to be taking much of a chance with his team down by 6 runs here in the 5th. And a ball off of Freese again. The throw to first base is in time. Zaun, of course, turning 39, cannot get down to the line, and he is out as Hart goes to second.
This ball just ricochets off David Freese. Greg Zaun absolutely crushes it. I think it hits off his right wrist. His glove is down on the ground. He's got his right arm up. I think it shoots off of his right arm, goes to Felipe Lopez, who throws out Greg Zaun, who's still hitless for the year.
0 for 12 with a walk, and the switch hitter now 0 for 4. And so that was 5-6-3. On the out here is Escobar with runner at second and 1 out. And the first pitch taken down low for ball 1. Escobar flied out to Ludwig in right field his first time up. And the Brewers have Jody Garrett on deck, who would pinch hit for Gallardo. Ball strike, 1-1. There is Garrett, who had a big pinch hit double to drive in a run on Wednesday against the Colorado Rockies. Check swing on the breaking ball. And it's 2-1 to Escobar. There's Vargas, who has been up along with Stetter, the left-hander. Now it's Vargas, and laying off that high and away pitch is Escobar, and 3-1. Be interesting to see what the Cardinals do. They have a big lead here at 6-0, and this is Garcia's first outing, and has the big cushion here.
Well, Escobar at the plate right now has to be taking this pitch.
And it's ball 4. So runners now at first and second, and that is the second walk of the game. And now time out for a direct TV game break. Reds leading the Cubs 3-2 in the 5th inning. Nobody out, nobody on, and Alfonso Soriano hits a home run off of Aaron Harang to tie the game at 3-3. Tied in the 8th inning, and Jeff Baker with a solo home run off of the veteran lefty Arthur Rose. And the Cubs defeat the Cincinnati Reds 4-3 in their game in Cincinnati. So the Reds, who a lot of people thought might be a kind of a surprise contender in the National League Central, struggling out of the gate, and the Cubs maybe looking a little better than people thought.
Well, for the Cubs, Alfonso Soriano and Kosuke Fukudome are going to have big years. If they don't have big years, I'm not so sure what happens with the Cubs. The Reds, a trendy pick, but offensively, I think they're going to be a bit short.
Weeks is on deck, and the pinch hitter Jody Garrett, native of Elmhurst, Illinois, but the count of no balls and 2 strikes, ground ball. Schumacher looks to the runners, makes the play at first. The runners will advance, and Garrett is retired as Hart goes to third and Escobar to second with 2 out to Ricky Weeks, the top of the order.
A real nice play by Skip Schumacher. And, you know, the scoreboard dictates what you do. And right now, with a 6-0 lead, if you're a Cardinal, all you want to do is get an out. Could he maybe have gotten his footing and tried to make the spectacular play to get the runner at second? Maybe. But it doesn't make any sense. You don't risk that. Get the out. Hope your pitcher can get the next one. Get back in the dugout instead of potentially leaving a big inning open for the Brewers.
Here's Weeks. Singled his last time up as 1 for 2 and takes ball 1. Ricky Weeks now has hit safely in all 5 Brewers games. So a chance here against Jaime Garcia. Gave off the leadoff single the first time today that the Brewers have had a base hit to start an inning. 2 hits, 1 walk, or 2 walks now in the game, and 5 strikeouts by the left-hander.
Well, Weeks ahead in the count right now. He's got to really channel his aggressiveness and just look for one pitch in one spot.
And it's 3-0. 3 balls, no strikes to Weeks. First base is open, and Carlos Gomez is on deck, and we'll have some stirring in the Cardinal bullpen. 3 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. Weeks taking all the way, takes a strike. Blake Hawksworth, who pitched superbly last night for the Cardinals in relief, and in talking with manager Tony La Russa, he wasn't sure whether Hawksworth would be available today. He said Ryan Franklin, the closer, certainly would. Franklin picked up a save, but here's Hawksworth, and they're really pleased with what he did last night. Ball 4, so Weeks is on, and runners now at first and second and 2 out. That's the second walk this inning for Garcia, and that'll bring Carlos Gomez to the plate as Dave Duncan goes to the mound.
Well, I think he goes out to remind Jaime Garcia, you've got a 6-0 lead, and you've got a free swinger at the plate. Now, Carlos Gomez now is coming up for the second time this ball game in an important situation. I think Dave Duncan is reminding Garcia, look, you don't necessarily have to throw a strike. You don't have to lay one in there. On the previous at-bat, Gomez was up with runners on second and third, had a 3-2 count after fouling some pitches off, and then swung through a ball. His job is not to make things happen, but to continue the order, get Braun to the plate, get Fielder to the plate. Gomez has to be patient here.
Corey Hart is on at third, Escobar at second, and Ricky Weeks at first. The bases are loaded. So Carlos Gomez, last time he was up, fouled 2 pitches off of his left foot. He's 0 for 2 today, and offers it the fastball and fouls it back on the screen. I think the reaction says it all. Sounds of the game. And the pitch is taken for the strike. No balls and 2 strikes to Gomez.
See, right now with a kid like Gomez, if you're Jaime Garcia, you've got to expand the zone. Bounce something in the dirt, throw something on the outer part of the plate.
A chopper. Freeze makes the glove hand play and throws out the runner at second. Ricky Weeks on the force to retire the side. So Freeze manages to make the big play to keep the Brewers off the board here in the 5th.
Well, we talked about Albert Pujols maybe feeling a slight twinge on that ball that he had to stretch for. It looks like a high left hamstring right there, or a glute muscle.
So we know about Pujols with the surgery during the offseason for the bone spurs. He missed some time this spring with lower back soreness, as well as Colby Rasmus hits one deep to right field, way back in the upper deck and gone for the home run. Colby Rasmus with his second homer of the year off of the new pitcher, Claudio Vargas, on his first pitch of the game, making his first appearance of the season, and the Cardinals increase their lead to 7-0.
You know, this is a kid that, speaking to hitting coach Mark McGuire, he is very excited, not only about the work ethic, but the ability. See Albert Pujols. Oh, my. Wow. You know, and this is a kid, a left-handed hitter with power that can mix in with this lineup.
Here's Ryan Ludwig, who takes ball one. Tony La Russa effusive with his praise when we talked to him last night.
Well, he just talked about, you know, Rasmus being a five-tool player. You know, what he can do, and you saw him get a hold of Vargas. Vargas, first pitch, put it up in the seats.
1-1 the count to Ludwig. So Vargas, who was a starter in his first stint with the Brewers back in 2007, 11-6 in 29 starts. His last appearance was on the last day of last season against these Cardinals. Pitch off the fists of Ludwig, fouled out of play, and it's 1-2. 31-year-old native of Santiago, Dominican Republic, in his 8th season. Giovanni Gallardo worked 5 innings, allowed 6 runs on 5 hits, struck out 5, walked 2, and gave up the big blow, the 3-run homer to Yadier Molina in the 2nd inning. Nobody out, 1-2 to Ludwig. Two balls and 2 strikes. So Colby Rasmus, who's a lot more thicker and stronger this time around. His head is straight now.
Well, I think that's probably the most important thing. You know, he's confident. He's got a different approach.
Ludwig strikes out on the breaking pitch, 2-1 away. And here is the in-game box score for the Cardinals, brought to you by Toyota.
Well, you look at that lineup, and, you know, it's not just one guy. Pujols, Holiday, Rasmus, Ludwig, Molina, everybody's contributed. The big blow, of course, the shot by Molina. But they were patient that inning. They let Gallardo throw pitches out of the zone. They worked ahead in the count, and then they exploded.
Yadier Molina lines it, and Ricky Weeks, that was not an easy play. And finally gets his balance as he comes up with it. That's out number 2.
Well, nice play by Weeks. You know, one of the more athletic players in the game. You know, the only thing that kept him from being the superstar player has been injury. Both wrists had trouble with.
That was a tricky line drive. It seemed to tail away from Weeks at the very end. But he made the play. 2 down to David Freese. You showed our in-game box score. And Lopez, Freese, and Jaime Garcia, the only Cardinals who have not hit safely. But Garcia did draw that walk that you talked about and came around and scored in that 2-run 5th inning.
I mean, again, you look back at that 5th inning. For me, that's the pivotal at-bat. You know, and that's where Gallardo let things get away from him.
1-0 with 2 outs after the leadoff home run by Rasmus off of Vargas. And the count 2-0 to the Cardinal third baseman. He's on the opening day roster last year as well, but ankle injuries hurt him. Came to the Cardinals 3 years ago in a trade with San Diego for Jim Edmonds. Edmonds had his best years in a Cardinal uniform. Count now is 3-0.
Here you see Jimmy Edmonds getting the day off against the left-hander.
3-1.
You know, we talked at the top of the show that you can't give free passes. You can't give walks. You go back to that Jaime Garcia walk, ended up igniting an inning. Colby Rasmus, his first at bat, walk first and second. Molina ends up hitting a 3-run shot that inning.
In the dirt, ball 4. Freeze draws a 2-out walk. And time now for a direct TV game break. Yankees and Rays, and Robinson Cano hits a deep home run in the 4th inning with 2 out and 1 on, and made it 2-0. That was off of Wade Davis. Mark Teixeira also scored, and now it is 4-0 in favor of the Yankees as they try to even the series after the Rays won last night. Well, the Rays look like they're going to be back to where they were 2 years ago.
Well, they've had a nice start, there's no question about it, but I still think over the 162 games, I like the Yankees and Red Sox.
Ball strike to Garcia. Claudio Vargas last year in 28 appearances had the best ERA on the Brewers staff, 1.78. Teams couldn't hit 200 against him. There's a chopper to shortstop. Escobar gets the force, and that'll do it. But the leadoff homer by Rasmus, his second of the year in the 6th, adds to the Cardinals' lead. It's 7-0. Great features here is the sausage race. Forget about the Kentucky Derby and the Triple Crown. What's better than the sausage race? Now, we've already seen the results. I thought 5 was going to win, and I don't know whether he did. But the great thing about it, you know what? I think this race is over. What do you think, Eric?
You like 5?
No, not anymore. Not
Not
anymore.
anymore.
No, I don't. Yeah. 5 didn't even finish in the money. Well, here are the standings right now.
It's early.
Italian Sausage with a slim lead of 1 win. But there's a lot of sausage
season left. A lot of
Yes.
sausage left.
There's a lot. There's a lot of hot dog and bun left. Ryan Braun leading off in the 6th. It'll be Braun, Fielder, and McGee. 1-0 the count. And a broken bat, slow hit roller to Schumacher, who makes the play. And Braun is retired, 1 out in the 6th inning. What about, an injury?
Hey, down. I didn't know sausages had hamstrings. I had no idea.
They may have a lot of.
That's right.
Sausages may have a lot
more than hamstrings. Great point.
Vince Fielder coming up, and trainers going out to look at what may have been the bratwurst. Big cut and a miss by Fielder. Strike one out. 0-1 to Prince Fielder. Carlos Villanueva, right-hander, is warming up for Milwaukee. 7-0 in favor of the Cardinals. Curveball, and it's 1-1. 7 runs on 6 hits, no errors for St. Louis. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 error for the Brewers. Big bouncer to Lopez. Finally had to go low for it. Makes the play. 2 ground balls, 2 outs in the 6th. And here is the in-game box score now for the Brewers. Brought to you by Toyota.
Not a lot going on, and that's a credit to Jaime Garcia. If there's anybody, though, that could have turned things around, it's that number 2 hitter, Carlos Gomez. The Brewers have stranded 5 runners today. All 5 have come with Gomez at the plate.
And Casey McGee coming up now. Garcia was drafted in the 30th round of the 04 draft by the Baltimore Orioles, and he was looking for big money, like $100,000 signing bonus. He was not signed, and the Orioles scout who encouraged Baltimore to draft him, Joe Almaraz, joined the Cardinal organization. And what do you know, in 2005, St. Louis drafted Garcia in the 22nd round, and he signed. So Almaraz stuck with it, and he's got to be very proud of what Jaime Garcia has done today. 2 down, none on, 2-0 the count, and McGee takes a strike, 2-1.
Well, I think besides the physical ability, the fact that Garcia has come back from Tommy John surgery, speaks about his character.
Right field, going over, and it's a fair ball. McGee going into second with a double, a 2-out double. And that is the first extra base hit by the Brewers today.
Well, this ball up and out over the plate. McGee drives it to right field, which is what he should do as a hitter. But getting back to Garcia, you can talk about the physical tools, but what makes a great player, they have the combination of the physical tools, the will to win, the fortitude, the mental ability. I think those are some of the things that, going through a surgery, having to rehab, that long process, that's something that you can gain while going through that.
As we mentioned, Carlos Villanueva warming up for the Brewers in the bullpen. Vargas came in relief of Gallardo, as the Cardinals with 4 in the 2nd, 2 in the 5th, adding 1 more in the 6th. Well out in front of this Brewer team, 7-0, and fouled off the screen, 1 ball and 1 strike. So once again, it looks as if the visiting team is going to prevail if it goes on the way it is right now, and a healthy lead for the Cardinals. The road team has won the last 8 games. And there's Tony La Russa on the phone to the Cardinal bullpen. Corey Hart, the batter, 1-1 pitch, base hit up the middle. McGee rounding third. Throw to the plate, safe at home. And a good decoy move by Molina. Didn't act like the ball was going to come through to him. McGee kept churning in and scores, breaking the shutout, and it's now 7-1.
Well, this is a shot up the middle by Corey Hart. Rasmus coming up to make a play. Albert Pujols letting the ball go through. Now you see Molina just standing there, not really acting like there's going to be a play. But forget that. Greg Zahn, who is behind, we don't see him there. He was standing watching. And his job is to tell the runner, get down, slide. And you see him he's just going, there's no demonstrative effort. Put the bat down, get down, give your teammate some help.
It was
nothing. It's just one little, hey, over to the side.
Mitchell Boggs up in the Cardinal bullpen, and it was a late slide, as you pointed out. He slid, touched home plate with his left hand, but he could have gone in there a little earlier. Good point. So here is Greg Zaun, who is 0 for 1 with a walk. And the Brewers finally get on the board, now trailing 7-1 with their 4th hit of the game. And it's all come with 2 down. Getting back is Hart. No one needed that base hit and that RBI more than Corey Hart, the way things have gone for him this spring.
Well, they haven't gone well. This is a guy that was 2 years removed from being an all-star. Didn't get a start last night. You know, and then what happens is the mental part of the game starts to enter. You start to think, wow, you know, the manager is doubting my ability. When I do get an opportunity, I've got to perform. And those things all make it a lot tougher to succeed when you go out on the field. So for that right there, that base hit probably allows him to get some sleep tonight.
1-0, the count is on. In fact, Ken Maka was questioned last night. Edmonds had played, and this is the 2nd appearance of the year for Hart. And they said, "You're going to platoon?" He says, "No, I'm not platooning in right field. It's going to be Edmonds for the most part." Foul back, 1 ball and 1 strike to Zaun.
But also to Ken Maka, to his credit or to his defense, he just said the best player is going to play. Now, whether or not, you know, Jim Edmonds is still the best player next week or a month from now or 2 months from now, you know, that remains to be seen. Now, there still will be a competition. So when each of these players get an opportunity, they're fighting for playing time.
Breaking pitch, and Freese cutting in front of Lopez, gets the force to retire the side, but a 2-out double by McGee and an RBI single by Hart gives the Brewers a run, 7-1 as we move to the 7th. Something together. Moving into the 7th inning in the top of the order for the Cardinals against the new Brewer pitcher is Skip Schumacher, who swings and misses for a strike. Carlos Villanueva, 26-year-old Dominican, making his 2nd appearance of the year. Pitched the 3rd of an inning against the Rockies on Wednesday. Was a starter and for a bit, mostly a reliever last year for the Brewers. No balls, 2 strikes to Schumacher, who doubled and scored a run back in the 5th inning. Schumacher, Lopez, and Pujols here in the 7th. Well, Schumacher's developing into a leader on this club and won the Darryl Kyle Award for the late pitcher last year, the leadership award, and was one of 5 players picked by Tony La Russa to address the team on the first day of spring training in Jupiter in the clubhouse, which is quite an honor when you consider that Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright, Albert Pujols, and Trevor Miller, the veteran left-hander, were the other 4. Two balls and 2 strikes to Schumacher. Left side of the infield playing back against it. Remains 2-2. Well, the Cardinals, after concluding the series tomorrow night here against the Brewers, will open up at home, which is always a great event. This is the 119th season of Cardinal baseball, one of the truly great franchises in all of sports. And they open Monday afternoon against the Houston Astros. 3 games against Houston, and then the New York Mets come in for 3. After 6 games on the road, Schumacher strikes out for out number 1 in the 7th inning. And following our game, NASCAR on Fox in Phoenix, where Mark Martin will try to defend his title and take home the checkered flag for the 2nd straight year. Coverage of the Subway Fresh Fit 600 from Phoenix International Raceway coming up next in high definition here on Fox. And these are the current standings. Here is Lopez, and Felipe Lopez takes a strike. Lopez is 0 for 3. Called out on strikes his last time up as Mitchell Boggs working, and it appears he'll be coming in to face the Brewers in the bottom of the 7th. Pitch taken up high, and it's 1-1.
Well, him coming into the 7th, Garcia, great job today. And get an opportunity to see Boggs, who a lot of potential, and someday probably a starter. And that's the one thing, talking to Tony La Russa, the bullpen just a bit inexperienced, and it's not something new for him. You got the closer Ryan Franklin, but you have some other guys, whether it's McClellan or Mott, Boggs, guys not with a lot of time under their belt. Great potential. And over the course of a season, they're going to evolve. They're going to assume certain roles. See Lopez swing over that pitch.
Well, mostly it's the right-handers are the question mark in the bullpen for the Cardinals. And last night, as soon as you say this is a question point, then all of a sudden the right-handers came through, Hawksworth in particular. Lopez is thrown out by Escobar for out number 2. Albert Pujols coming up. A lot of ones on that graphic there.
It's interesting. We always talk about what a great offensive player, and we marvel at the numbers he's put up. Remember, he has won a Gold Glove. And, the other thing, too, is he doesn't get a lot of credit for his base running. But he's an excellent base runner as well. In fact, led this ball club last year in stolen bases with 16. You'd never think that. But he's an impact player. And he does it not just at the plate. He does it in the field. He does it on the bases. He does it in the clubhouse. I mean, there isn't any arena where he doesn't make a difference. And that's very rare.
1 ball and 1 strike to Pujols. 2-run single in his last trip to the plate. 1 for 3 on the day. Now with 6 runs batted in on the year. And 6 for 18. Big swing. 1-2.
You know, and talking to Mark McGuire the other day, you know, he said he marveled at the work ethic of the entire club, but he said it's easy to understand why the entire club is hitting extra BP, why they're taking, you know, extra cuts. It's because the best player on the team is the hardest worker.
Well, you look at any sport, and you'll find that. I know that in covering the NBA, Tim Duncan, one of the hardest workers, setting an example. If you're your superstar on the team, and you know not everyone has a superstar acting the way the likes of Albert Pujols conduct themselves. He's a class act. 2 down, nobody on. 2-2 the count to Pujols. Cardinals in front 7-1 here in the 7th. Check swing. Went around. Said Mark Carlson, and Pujols can't believe it. It's a strikeout. Second one this inning for Villanueva. We go to the bottom of the 7th. And by Sharp Aquas Quatron Quad Pixel Technology. You have to see it to see it. And the new pitcher will be Mitchell Boggs, and a job well done by Jaime Garcia, who won the assignment in spring training for the Cardinals with an impressive 20 strikeout performance in 6 outings. And today, Garcia going 6 innings, allowing only 1 run on 4 hits. He struck out 5 and walked 3, and had his shutout broken in the 6th inning. So Mitchell Boggs, 26-year-old right-hander from Fulton, Georgia, and Alcides Escobar lifts it into right center field, where it's handled by Colby Rasmus for out number 1. Well, time now for a DirecTV game break, and we have some interesting story developing in Tampa with CC Sabathia. In the 7th inning now, has a no-hitter going, and the Yankees are leading 4-0. And there's Mark Teixeira making a brilliant play. So in the top of the 7th inning, it's 4-0, and Sabathia has a no-hitter going for the Yankees. Well, the only way to watch every MLB game in HD, call 1-800-DIRECTV. And a pinch hitter, Craig Counsell, who has appeared in every game for the Brewers in this young season, batting for Villanueva. and takes strike one. And a call strike to Counsell. A local boy from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. Still a boy at age 39 and looks boyish indeed. As the pitch is taken inside, 1 ball and 2 strike. He's been on a world championship team twice. Once with the Marlins, the other time with the Diamondbacks, and a teammate of yours with the Dodgers back in '99.
A professional player, somebody that comes to play to win every day. You talk to guys who are on that '97 Marlin team, and he was acquired from the Colorado Rockies that year. They say that he had as big an impact as anybody as far as what he did changing the culture of that ball club. He, Darren Dalton, very instrumental in that World Series win.
And a full count, 3-2 to Counsell against Mitchell Boggs. Manny Parra, left-hander, who was a starter last year, and Parra, along with Chris Narveson, a couple of left-handers now manning the bullpen for the Brewers in the master plan by Ken Maka and Rick Peterson. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Counsell with 1 out, nobody on base. Ball 4, and Counsell's aboard with a walk with 1 out here in the 7th. And that'll bring up the top of the order in Ricky Weeks. Dave Duncan making the notations. Here is Weeks, who's been on base twice today, and that's saying a lot for Brewer hitters. Corey Hart is the only other hitter who has been aboard twice. Weeks with a single and a walk, 1 for 2.
Well, Weeks part of that 1-2 punch at the top of the lineup that needs to get on base to set the table for Braun and Fielder. And he's done his job, and the big question mark this year is going to be the number 2 guy, Carlos Gomez.
First pitch is a ball to Weeks. So Mitchell Boggs making his 2nd appearance of the year, and the first year that he's made the opening day roster. Led the Pacific Coast League 2 years ago in earned run average, pitching for Memphis. Big swing by Weeks, and the count 1-1.
It's just a fastball that just dives out of the zone. 97-mile-an-hour fastball. A guy like Boggs, he's got great stuff. It's just, the situation, 7-1. There isn't a lot of adrenaline going. It's, it's not a tight game, so you've got to spark yourself.
Backing up a bit, Lopez for 1, not in time, but getting the lead man Counsell. And Weeks is on at first with 2 away. Hurry in to get your free Scott's MLB fan guide, available exclusively at Lowe's. Two out, and Carlos Gomez take a little punishment at the plate, fouling off 2 pitches in 1 at bat off of his left foot. Off speed pitch. He's 0 for 3 today. Struck out once.
It hasn't been a good day at the plate. Again, this offense is predicated on the guys at the top of the lineup getting on, and he's one of the players that adds another dimension to this ball club, the speed. But as we've heard so many times, you can't steal first base. If you're not getting on base, what good is the speed?
Well, Braun and Fielder today are 0 for 6. And the first 4 hitters in the Brewer lineup, 1 for 11.
But I'll say this, with Ryan Braun, he's had a couple opportunities where Gomez gets up or gets on base. He's hitting with the bases loaded. Gomez has not had a good day. Brewers haven't. Cardinals up 7-1.
And Manny Parra is the 4th Milwaukee pitcher. Appeared in 27 games last year. This is the first time he has been in a game this season. 11-11 with 27 starts and a 6.36 earned run average. As you see, had off-season surgery on the AC joint in his left shoulder. So he'll be facing Matt Holliday, Colby Rasmus, and Ryan Ludwig here in the 8th inning, and the sun shining brightly around the infield and home plate, swinging and getting a base hit on the first pitch is Holliday. Well, next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, David Wright and the Mets take on Albert Pujols and the Cardinals. Or the White Sox and Indians square off in a meeting between AL Central rivals. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Lowe's, returns next week at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox. Check your local listings for the game and start time in your area.
Shooting for some of you viewers that are going to make a trip out to the West Coast and have the Dodgers and Giants on as well.
Colby Rasmus taking strike 1. Started out to be a beautiful day. Temperatures in the high 60s. The retractable roof was open until right before the game. Rasmus swings and misses. Let's go back to the 6th inning, leading off.
Okay, Colby Rasmus gets that fastball down and in. Albert Pujols even admiring that shot. But what a boost. If Rasmus, I don't think there's any doubt that at some point in the next few years he can be one of the top players. But if he can arrive this year at some point, the Cardinals, it just makes them that much tougher. This is a left-handed power bat, can do everything, can run, hit for average, been much more patient this first week of the season. And if it's a sign of things to come, Cardinal fans have got to be excited.
Replacing Rick Ankiel, who had been the center fielder, now with Kansas City, and Ankiel playing a role in the Royals' victory over the Red Sox last night. As you see, Ryan Ludwig on deck. So Holliday on at first base with his 2nd hit of the game, 2 for 4 today with a run scored, and the count 2-2 to Rasmus facing Parra. Ball getting away from Greg Zaun, and moving on to second is Matt Holliday.
And not much Greg Zaun can do right there. This is a curveball bouncing in front of the dirt. In front of the plate, excuse me. Got a lot of spin on it, so when it doesn't just shoot right up to the catcher's chest protector, it's got the spin, it'll shoot to the side, and it's not always easy to corral that ball.
So the Cardinals have a runner in scoring position. Nobody out. 3-2 to Rasmus. Matt Holliday now with 10 hits on the season, leading the Cardinals in that department. Getting a piece of it, staying alive is Rasmus. Tony La Russa, who works 1 year, signed a 1-year contract. Let's see if the club wants me back next year, if I want to come back next year. And when you have the credentials of Tony La Russa, you don't have to worry, obviously, at this point about job security. And Rasmus strikes out. Foul tipped into Zaun's glove for the first out.
Just overpowers him here with a fastball. Manny Parra, interesting. Last year, it was counted on to be one of the starters in the ball club. Ends up going down to the minor leagues. Now he's in the bullpen. But again, he is an option. And that's one thing that this Brewers staff does have. They may not be all great pitchers and have a lot of talent, but they do have a lot of starting options.
Ryan Ludwig, the batter. Nadir Molina, who has one of the 2 home runs hit by the Cardinals, is on deck. Ludwig is 1 for 3 with an RBI single today. Now has knocked in 2 runs on this young season. And a ground ball hit to Weeks at second base. after a short bobble, makes the play to first as Holiday goes to third with 2 out. And now it's time for the Just for Men Keep Your Edge Spotlight. And if the spotlight was on the guy coming up right now, Yadier Molina, the big blow of the game in the second inning to give the Cardinals at the time a 4-0 lead.
Well, a 3-run shot, taking advantage of the count there at 1-0, sitting on a fastball. Gallardo misses his spot. Well, Molina hit a grand slam at the beginning of the season as well.
So just as Yadier Molina gives the Cards the edge, you too can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard. 2 down, and Holiday at third base against Manny Parra. And a check swing on the breaking ball. 1-0. Well, the Cardinals, hugely disappointment with last year, the way it ended, losing 3 straight to the Dodgers. You figure when you have Chris Carpenter and Adam Wainwright, maybe the best 1-2 pitching punch, being swept is something that's just not going to happen. No advances, the ball gets away from zone.
Well, anytime you have, the offense that they did, you look at Wainwright right there, and the 1-2 pitching punch, you're not talking about just going deep in the postseason. You're talking about winning a World Series. Sure. And we've seen so many times, whether it's Schilling and Johnson or Beckett and somebody, you get that 1-2 guy in the postseason, you can run away with things.
Swinging bunt by Molina. Parra off the mound, throws him out, and that'll do it. 1 hit, 1 left. Brewers come up in the 8th. The Crew trailing. Car maker with 4 hybrid models, and by Sears Blue Lawn and Garden Crew. And the Brewers here in the 8th inning facing Mitchell Boggs, who relieved Jaime Garcia in the 7th inning. And Ryan Braun will be followed by Prince Fielder and Casey McGee. Braun 0 for 3. And takes ball 1. Braun has grounded out twice and flied out to the opposite field. Fielder on deck has struck out twice and grounded to short. So it's been a quiet day. We talked about the chance of fireworks in the game with the big 1-2 punch. It's Braun. Grounds out Schumacher to Pujols. Ken Rosenthal has a report, and it includes Prince Fielder and what his future may be.
Dick, Eric, Prince Fielder's agent, Scott Boras, usually prefers his clients to avoid signing contract extensions. That way, they can have their values determined by the open market. Well, Fielder is eligible for free agency after the 2011 season. That's the same time as 4 other star first basemen. We're talking about Albert Pujols, Ryan Howard, Adrian Gonzalez, and Lance Berkman. Still, most baseball people feel that Boras will not be deterred, that he will not rush into signing Fielder to an extension. When it comes to the open market, Scott Boras rarely shows fear.
And I guess you don't need to show any fear when you have the likes of the clients he has in most respects. Prince Fielder with the count 2 strikes against him. Remember, he has struck out twice in an 0-for-3 game, and time is called. So we talked about Pujols and Holiday for the Cardinals, and Braun and Fielder. And right now, Braun and Fielder 0-for-7. Pujols has a 2-run single, and Holiday has 2 hits. No real power in that group as Fielder goes down for the 3rd time. But the Cardinals got the edge in the production department.
I think he crossed up Molina right there. Nice pitch on the outer part of the plate. You know, but you mentioned the contrast of Holiday and Pujols versus Fielder and Braun today. Well, Fielder and Braun have not come up with a runner on base. And that is huge, because the way that a pitcher can dissect a hitter when there's nobody on base is completely different than when he's pitching in a pressure situation with men on. And that's why I go back. The at-bats by Carlos Gomez today, the number 2 hitter for the Brewers, have completely dictated the day for Braun and Fielder.
Casey McGee with 2 out, doubled his last time up, 1-for-3. The count is 0-1 to the Brewer third baseman. And is the only extra base hit of the day for Milwaukee. Backing up is Pujols, but Schumacher is there. Little white showing there, but a 1-2-3 inning for Mitchell Boggs. And we go now to the 9th inning. It's a 7-1 Cardinal lead. His second inning in relief, facing David Freese, the pitcher spot, and Skip Schumacher here in the top of the ninth inning. First pitch a strike to Freese, who is 0 for 2 with a walk, has also struck out. David Freese from Wildwood, Missouri, just 25 miles west of St. Louis. 1-1 the count. He went to the same high school, Lafayette High School, as Ryan Howard, the Philly slugger. Breaking ball and a strike 2. 1-2 to Freese. Nick Stavanova is on deck for the Cardinals, the hero of last night's victory for St. Louis. He'll be pinch hitting for Mitchell Boggs. Escobar makes the play, and there's one away. And now the direct TV play, Yankees no-hit watch. Watch this play by A-Rod. Alex Rodriguez throws out B.J. Upton and throws to first. So CC Sabathia has a no-hitter through 7 innings. The Yankees are batting in the 8th, and the drama builds in Tampa.
Shoot, if that turns out to be a no-hitter, there's got to be some Rolexes for Teixeira and Alex Rodriguez. 2 great defensive plays to preserve the no-hitter up to this point.
Nick Stavanoa batting for Boggs, and he takes ball 1. Stavanoa with the 2-run home run in the 9th inning against Trevor Hoffman, with 2 out and 2 strikes, and turned the deficit into a Cardinal victory, 5-4. And here it was.
Well, what it was is a changeup, and it was actually the right pitch. It was just in the wrong spot. See, Stavanoa down on one knee just about, reaching out, and really the only place he could have made contact was on an inside pitch. To his credit, he stayed with it. You know, what excitement for the young man. A game-winning shot off a future Hall of Famer. One of the best closers to ever don a uniform.
Native of Houston, Texas. And Jason Mott, working in the bullpen, will come in the 9th inning. And there's Joe Mather on deck. Will hit for Skip Schumacher. There's Mott, who would like to turn around what was an unfortunate afternoon the other day when the Reds beat the Cardinals and spoiled a great pitching performance by starter Brad Penny. Ground ball foul. So here's Stavanoa, who played linebacker at the University of Houston, then went to San Jacinto Junior College, and then to LSU, a baseball power, in his senior year.
Hard-nosed guy. And Tony La Russa describing him throughout the minor leagues as a guy that just willed himself, a real grinder.
Grinding at the plate as he stays alive here with the count 2-2. Built like a linebacker, to be sure. Was 5 for 15 as a pinch hitter last year. But it's the first time he is on an opening day roster. And that's got to be a thrill.
Well, a real no-nonsense guy. Just up there, all business. Up at the plate for one reason, to make contact.
2-2 pitch outside. What was it like the first time you were on a big league roster?
Well, I remember my first at bat. My first opening day was against the San Francisco Giants. We were at home, and it was exciting, obviously, just to hear my name called. My first at bat, that's a little different story.
Can't have everything.
That was 3 strikes. Go sit down, grab some bench. Thanks for coming.
How nervous were you for that opening game?
My first at bat, I was shaken up there, and the ironic thing, I faced a kid that I had faced all through the minor leagues, but I remember it like it was yesterday. Doug Harvey, the legendary umpire behind the plate.
Bet you remember everything about that moment. Foul out of play, and hanging in there is Nick Stavanoa with one out here in the ninth inning. The Cardinals coasting in this game, and a early spurt, 4 runs in the second inning. RBI single by Ryan Ludwig preceding Yadier Molina's home run into the upper deck in left field. 3-run drive, and the Cardinals have never looked back. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's hit very high in the air to left center field. Carlos Gomez makes the catch, and there is 2 down. Well, 2010 edition of the MLB on Fox Tune In to Win game kicks off on Saturday, April 24th. This is really going to get everyone involved in what happens on the field. Make picks for the game you watch. Check online results throughout the game. And stay tuned for the 7th inning bonus question. Finish in the top 3 and see your name on air at the end of the game. So register today at foxsports.com/TuneIn. And you want to get involved in a lot of ways. And say, I can tell you who may hit the first home run or the first hit. It'll all start on the 24th of April. Don't miss it. Here is Joe Mather batting for Skip Schumacher, and a base hit to left field for Mather with 2 down. So Joe Mather, who was with the Cardinals for 53 games 2 years ago and spent all of last year in the minor leagues, opening up the season here, and one of those young bench people that Tony La Russa has to work around.
Well, again, he's going to have to develop these players over the course of the season because they are inexperienced. They're young players asked to play roles that really are better suited for veteran guys.
Felipe Lopez with a chopper. Escobar will go to first with it, and that'll do it for the Cardinals in the top of the 9th inning. 6-run lead, and the Brewers come up for their last chance in the bottom of the 9th. Something together. And Jason Mott in for the 9th inning, and Brendan Ryan moves to shortstop, and Felipe Lopez replaces Skip Schumacher at second base. Corey Hart, who has 2 hits and 3 trips today, rounds this foul down the third base line. Count is 1 ball and 1 strike, so there's not much to cheer as far as the Brewers are concerned, but Corey Hart getting an opportunity, coming alive a bit.
Well, if you're the Brewers, you know, you're looking at this ball game, Corey Hart swinging the bat, driving in a run. But outside of that, just not a lot of good things. You know, Gallardo didn't throw that poorly. He just had one inning, that second inning, where he fell behind the hitters and got into real trouble. But outside of that, you know, he threw pretty darn well.
You get into an early hole against a team like the Cardinals, and as you mentioned, it changes the complexion of the whole game and what your strategy would be at the plate. 2 balls and a strike to Hart. And Mott's pitch fouled out of play. Mott making his 3rd appearance of the year, and on Thursday, as you see Greg Zaun in the on-deck circle, gave up a home run to Johnny Gomes, the walk-off homer in the 9th inning, as the Reds won it 2-1. Made 69 appearances last year and had a 4-4 record and a 4.76 with 15 holds. There's a strike, and Hart goes down. So 2 hits and 2 strikeouts today for Hart. Well, today's Lexus Hybrids game-changing player is Jaime Garcia in a big start, his first start of the year, the first in a couple of years.
Well, he really did a good job. Now, obviously, with the 4-run lead, you know, it allows him to be more comfortable. He still had to go out and execute, and to his credit, was never in any real trouble, made pitches when he had to. And really, to get this first win under his belt and to be the 5th starter on a ball club like this, got to be looking forward to the rest of this season.
Zaun, the batter, 0 for 2 with a walk, the longest outing of his brief career. And remember, his previous start in the big leagues was in July of 2008 in an emergency role, pitched 5 innings. Now his second major league start was outstanding in spring training. His family from San Antonio here to see it all. So the youngster from Reynosa, Mexico, who played his high school ball in Mission, Texas, in a game that he won't forget. And the amazing thing here is that today's start by Garcia was the first start by a left-handed pitcher for the Cardinals since his last start in July of 2008. Hard to believe, as Zaun grounds to second for the second out, and the Brewers down to their last out.
Well, and that's the thing that, you know, if you're a Cardinal fan, you've got to obviously be excited about this start. You couple that with the Brad Penny start the other day, which Penny allowed only 1 run to the Cincinnati Reds. You know, it's one thing to have Carpenter and Wainwright, but now you throw in a Penny. And, you know, today Garcia, Kyle Loesch, I mean, looking better and better every day.
No question. They have that 5th starter in McClellan now in the bullpen, who was the 5th starter last year, as Alcides Escobar takes a strike. He is 0 for 2 and walked once today. Cardinals 7 runs on 8 hits, no errors. The Brewers 1 run, 4 hits and 1 error. The Brewers getting their 1 run in the 6th inning after the Cardinals had taken a 7-0 lead. So Carpenter will go in the series finale tomorrow. There's Penny. So you mentioned maybe an inexperienced bench, some questions about right-handed relief. And the Cardinals have to be the favorites in this division. Slap to the right and 0-2 to Escobar.
Well, so, you know, talking to Tony the other night, we were kidding him that, you know, if you had the perfect team, you wouldn't, you know, receive the accolades of being one of the best managers the game has ever seen. And the fact that he's able to accomplish the things that he has over the course of his career, you know, speaks volumes of his ability.
This should do it. Ryan throws to first, and the game is over as Mott gets the last out. And the Cardinals win it 7-1, and Jaime Garcia with a huge win today. And we'll wrap things up for Milwaukee right after these messages from your local Fox station.